Yo, what is going on, guys? Bobby here, and I'm still having like a bad just like everything day. I'm gonna get a cut soon, so just ignore that. But today we have probably the hardest tier list that I have made in a really long time. Now, it's the start of a new meta, and usually that's difficult enough, but it feels like the meta we used to have got completely flipped on its head, and I'm not lost, but this is definitely the most difficult it's ever been for myself to kind of put everything together. So what we're going to be doing today is a little bit different. Rather than going brawler by brawler, one by one, what I'm going to do is put the entire rarities on the screen all at once, and then talk about each individual brawler one by one, but you guys can see where I scatter around that rarity, so you guys can kind of get a feel for what rarity you guys want to start unlocking, what you want to work towards, and stuff like that. So here we have the starting brawler in Shelly, but I'm going to group her into the rare category as well. So we have all 8 brawlers that are kind of like the starting brawlers in the game. And obviously, these brawlers are not going to be very good. So starting with Shelly, she did actually receive a pretty decent buff. Band-Aid was always the meta on Shelly, but now the fast forward gadget completely reloads all your ammo. And that is honestly pretty strong when you have an anti-tank like Shelly, because it's like, I don't know, you just spray 3 shots, dash, spray another 3 shots, kind of how you would play the Finks gadget. And to be honest, I actually think this buffed Shelly a lot. Like if you're facing a counter like Rosa or Primo, there's basically nothing they can do when you have 3 shots, a dash, another 3 shots, and a super. So Shelly's going to be moved up into the B tier. Next up, we have Nita. Nita's just been B for a really long time. She's very good in Heist and decent in Gem Grab and Brawl Ball, and that's about it. The Hyper Bear kind of carries Nita's kit. Colt up next. Colt's just not good right now. There's so many brawlers that more or less do the same thing, like Lola or Charlie or Amber or 8-Bit. Like all these brawlers are just better versions of Colt. They're just like rangy, high damage brawlers, and Colt definitely needs some type of buff. Next up, our first A tier brawler, we have Bull. Bull's just really good. The stun, not the stun, but the stomper on every single super is very insane. And then you mix that in with the fact that now that you have stomper on every super, that used to be a gadget in and of itself, but now there's a stun. Like Bull is just very good against any brawler that doesn't have any stun or like jump or just any way to kind of defend itself. So think of a Carl or a Poco or a Barley. Like these brawlers stand 0 chance against the Bull, and Bull's very good because of that. Next up, Brock. Brock's just a really good heist brawler, really good bounty and, knockout brawler. And Brock, he's just great. He's going to be good for a really long time. Both gadgets are good. Both supers are good. Brock's just good. Then we have Primo. Primo is going to be a D tier brawler. Primo's just not good right now. It seems like every tank besides Rosa is probably better than Primo. He's only kind of usable in Brawl Ball, but even then he's really not that good. So I don't know, not a big fan. Barley up next. Pretty good brawler. Like Hot Zone, Barley's very good. Heist, Barley's very good. The only issue with Barley is he's very squishy, but it's good because he needs to have bad parts because he has so many good parts to his kit. So again, a brawler like Bull or Primo, like Barley stands no chance against those brawlers. A Rosa, Barley can deal with because Rosa doesn't have any ability to get closer to Barley. And if Barley just plays that slow gadget, Rosa can't really do anything. But a brawler with a dash like Bull or a jump like Primo will just absolutely destroy Barley. And like I've been complaining about, there's just so many assassins, so many movement brawlers in the game. So it's just not great for Barley, but he's solid enough to be B tier. Then we have Poco. I mean, Poco's okay, decent healer, but I'm not really a big fan. Other healers are way better, like Barry or Byron. And then Rosa is definitely the worst tank in the game. Probably even the worst brawler in the game. So it's going to be D tier for me. Something in general, though, is, I mean, like literally none of you guys who watch this video even care about this tier, because this tier doesn't matter to you. Like everyone who watches my channel has more than, 2,000 trophies, right? I'm not Lex, I'm not Kairos, I'm not OJ. So these brawlers, like, they're just completely useless. Like at 100 trophies, don't get me wrong, Primo and Shelly, like they're the best brawlers in the world, but if they got buffed to be decent at like any type of decent trophy range, then nobody at 100 trophies would ever beat a Shelly or a Primo, and they would just quit Brawl Stars. So these brawlers just have to stay bad. They're gonna stay bad forever, and that's just what it is. All right, so then here we have the super rare brawlers, and you guys can see we still have 0 S plus or S tier brawlers, because these are just really low level brawlers, and they can't be over buffed or they would have too big of an impact on Brawl Stars. Starting off with Jessie, though, Jessie definitely needs a small buff, and then I think she'll be decent. I'm going to put her in the C tier because she's an okay gem mid, and she's okay similarly to Nita, where you put like the hyper Jessie turret on the safe. It could do a lot, but Jessie's just really not that great. Has so many counters. Any type of range counters Jessie, any type of thrower counters Jessie. I don't really have to go on and on. Jessie's just not too good right now. Then we have Dynamite. Again, Dyna is just like a worse version of Barley at the moment. Like, the risk reward is better because the stun is crazy and obviously the damage output is crazy, but Barley almost does just as much damage as a Dyna, but Barley is a lot safer to play. You have heals, you have the slow gadget, you have the healing star power. Like, there's just a lot that helps you out as a Barley that doesn't help you on Dyna. And I don't know, Dyna definitely needs some buff, but I don't see that buff coming because it would just be too good at low level. Then we have Tick. Tick's a pretty safe brawler, pretty easy to play. You know, just kind of shoot those tick mines, keep players back, do whatever. He's just a well-rounded brawler, has a lot of escape mechanisms like his shield gadget that knocks people back, or his hypercharge that'll help him out, or his super that you can hold if an assassin wants to jump on you. So it's not the best brawler, but there's a lot of ways to stay safe. It's just kind of like your average brawler, so it's going to be in the a little bit below average tier. 8-Bit did just get a damage buff, and maybe I have 8-Bit a little bit low. I'm not sure. What I'm going to get into a little bit later on in the video is there's a lot of brawlers that are untouched, but they're going to move down or up my tier list because the meta is completely different right now. And 8-Bit honestly might be a B tier brawler, but I'm going to leave him in C tier for now. Rico, going to be my third brawler in the A tier. You know, if a map is made for Rico, Rico's just going to be really good. The number one counter to Rico is Stu, but if you're not facing a Stu, it's usually going to be pretty good times for Rico. So, I don't know. I'm just going to have him in the A tier. His hyper is also broken, like crazy broken. Daryl fell off. Daryl was like S plus tier or S tier for a while, but he's just not that good anymore. Maybe C tier is a little bit low. Honestly, I do think C tier is a little bit low, and I'm happy I caught myself. So I'm going to move Daryl up to the B tier. But yeah, like he did kind of just fall off the meta a little bit. He's not as good at knockout as he used to be, or on heist as he used to be, or brawl ball. Like, he kind of just fell off the meta a little bit. Like, maybe if a lot of brawlers aren't an option and you need something, Daryl could work, but I don't love it. Then we have Penny. Penny's a pretty decent brawler, and once the turret is set up, it's pretty annoying, but I just don't think Penny has the damage to deal with a lot of these like S plus or S tier brawlers. Carl, I'm actually a pretty big fan of Carl. I think Carl's the closest brawler to the A tier. I don't have it in order. I'm not going to put it in order, but Carl's pretty good. He's just always decent. The flying hook and the fire Carl are really strong gadgets, and he just has a good kit. You know, his super is good and his gadgets are good, and he's always just going to be mid. Then we have Jackie. Jackie, again, the second worst tank in the game, or third worst, just part of that, you know, horrible tank class that we have in the D tier. And then we have Gus. I'm going to move Gus up to the A tier because, I mean, he's just a really good brawler. I think he fell off a tiny bit, but he's like the very top of the A tier. I think before he was S plus, or you know what? I'm going to put him in the S tier. There we go. Gus is an S tier brawler. Like, bottom of S, top of A. His range is good. It's just like he's not actually good in bounty, even though you would think he's good in bounty. Just every sniper outranges him, and he has a constant disadvantage. And I don't think he's that good as a gem mid anymore, which used to be his like greatest strength. So like, what is he really excelling at? I think knockout, he's really good as a support, and gem mid, he's okay, I guess, but I'm not a huge fan of Gus in this meta, but I'll put him S tier for the respect. Okay, I did not realize how many epic brawlers there were in the game, but we have a lot more brawlers on our screen than we just had a little bit ago. So again, I'm going to go in order, starting with Bo. Bo is going to be in the B tier because, you know, B stands for Bo, so that just makes sense, right? Now, for real though, the mines are really good. They're good on heist, they're good on gem grab, they're good on hot zone. They're just good everywhere, and if you guys are an avid watcher of me, you guys know that Bo sucks. I hate Bo. I have nightmares about Bo. I close my eyes and I see Bo. Bo haunts me. You guys know that. But Bo doesn't haunt the average player. Maybe your randoms might step on a mine, but that's about it. Like, Bo is actually pretty good. He just doesn't have anything that stands out too much for him. Like, when you're actually fighting him, not the Bo mines. So the Bo mines are good, but Bo's just mid, so B tier for me. Next up, we have Ems, right beside Bo in the B tier. Ems definitely moved up the meta as she's a pretty good anti-tank now, and her hyper is pretty solid, giving her an extra knockback, and knockback is all Ems needs to be a really good brawler. Like, if Ems had unlimited knockbacks, Ems would be one of the best brawlers or one of the best anti-tanks. It's just when it doesn't have a knockback, that's when she falls off. But that hyper is an extra 1 or 2 knockbacks a game. So, I mean, we take those. Then we have Stu up in the A tier. Stu's movement is just really good. There's just a lot of brawlers that Stu really excels against. So if we are looking at my list right now, Rico, Stu, that's easy kills. Griff for Stu, easy kills. If it gets up close to any of these snipers, Brock, Piper, Mandy, obviously easy kills. Basically just any of the anti-tanks. Let's look at the B tier real quick. Shelly, Nita, Carl, Ems, Gale, Colette. That's 6 brawlers in 1 tier. Stu absolutely poops on. So, like, Stu is really good against those mid-HP anti-tanks. It's just actual tanks Stu has a hard time against because there's so many hits that you need to get, and sometimes Stu just gets overwhelmed. So, if it was a 1v1, I mean, Stu would win a lot of the time, but it just feels sometimes like he doesn't have enough damage. So, A tier, I think, is a good spot for Stu right now. Piper next. Piper's an A tier brawler. We all know that, like knockout, bounty, or maybe gem grab mid, even heist. All these places you can play Piper really well. And I mean, I do think she needs a tiny buff, but she's good. She's A tier, and I guess if you're A tier, you don't need a buff. Next up, we got Mama Pam. She's going to be in the D tier. Mama Pam has been searching for that hypercharge for so long. Like, Pam absolutely needs that hypercharge to stay relevant. Because right now, she's D tier. Like, her gadget is really good, where you take ammo. She has one of the greatest gadgets in the game, and she's still in the D tier. So that actually does say something. Like, she needs some help badly. So hopefully that hyper helps, but we'll see. It did look pretty crazy, though. Oh my god, guys, I forgot Frank. Okay, this is pretty easy. Frank's just going to go into the B tier. Again, he's solid, and at lower levels, these brawlers are always going to be a lot better than at high levels. The change where he swings faster the lower HP he gets is always going to be a fantastic change for him. It's going to help him out forever and ever. But right now, he does kind of seem like a walking supercharge a little bit, but he's really a good brawler. Like, he's a very great brawler. Good on Brawl Ball especially. So if you want to play Brawl Ball and you like to score goals, Frank is your guy. Next up, BB. And BB's change actually got her out of the useless D tier into the trash C tier. Now, I'm still yet to decide if I really like this change or not, but at least it did make her a little bit more relevant. So you BB mains, you know, you get to celebrate this. Next up, B. B is going to be in the A tier. Just a very strong anti-tank where if you have a free matchup, you're going to destroy it. Like, look at the brawlers on the screen right now. Imagine you're laning a Bull or a Griff or just, you know, something that can't reach you or can do very little damage to you, and you can just farm it from far away. Once you hit that slow gadget, you just tap that auto aim button, that red button, it's easy kills, and B's just insane, especially on hot zone and gem grab. Then we have Nani. Nani's in the C tier. Nani's like sole purpose in Brawl Stars is to piss off every other sniper main. Like, if there was one thing Nani was good at, I would say it. But there isn't. The only thing Nani's good at is just countering the other snipers, and that's it. So if you want to be annoying in Bounty, you can play Nani. But that's about the only place where Nani can really find success. Then we have Edgar. There's just too many like crazy good assassins, so Edgar is going to be hard stuck in the D tier probably for a long time. Griff, I'm actually pretty high on Griff. I think Griff has one of the best hypercharges in the game. Oh my god, there's a mosquito here. I think Griff is has one of the best hypercharges in the game. And the fact that he's one of the few anti-tanks that could break walls, like, you know, it's good for anti-tanks to break walls, open up the map, it makes the game easier for them. It does help him out a lot. So his super's good, his hyper's really good, and that gadget is really good. So I'm a big fan of Griff. A tier easily for me. Next up, we have Grom, and I always get so much heat on Grom. Like, Grom is good in knockout. Okay, guys, I said it. I admit it. I understand. And that hyper is pretty hard to dodge. In fact, it's basically impossible to dodge. But outside of knockout, Grom just isn't good. And I understand. I've played, you know, gold ranked and silver ranked, and I've also played at 200 trophies, and those guys can't juke Grom, and Grom seems like the best brawler in the game. But you know what? He's not the best brawler in the game. In fact, he's one of the worst brawlers in the game, and he is C tier 100%. Then we have Bonnie. Round of applause for Bonnie, our first S+ tier brawler. Bonnie's just way too good. That hypercharge made Bonnie super diverse to where, like, before you couldn't really jump on a Bull or a Hank or just, you know, whatever tank. But now you can jump on them easily and survive. And not only can you jump on them, but if you're like one shot away from hyper and they don't know that, which this happens basically every game you face a tank, they're going to go close to you and try and kill you. And you're just going to hit one shot, get your hyper, jump up, stun them, land back down, stun them, and absolutely destroy them. It's a big counter to tanks. Obviously, it's a big counter to any brawler you jump on because you're going to automatically kill them. You're already good versus throwers with the jump. You have that movement speed with the gadget. Like, Bonnie is very, very good. Bonnie is probably the best brawler in the game, to be honest. Maybe I'll find one that I like one better, but 100% S tier. You could literally use Bonnie in any game mode right now. Next up, Gale. Gale is going to be in our B tier. He actually got a buff, and it was a pretty good buff, and we all know he has a broken hypercharge. So if you can just get to that point of the game where you get a hypercharge with Gale, it does take a little bit, but if you can get there, you are probably going to win the game from that point forward. Colette, same thing. I think it's a little bit, or she's a little bit worse than Gale right now, but still, B tier is fine. I feel like she's actually okay in Heist, because when the Heist change was made, everyone thought Crow and Colette were going to fall off, myself included, and it's fair because like a Crow hyper can do 40%, but the value in Heist when you break a barrier and the fact that you can jump in with a Crow or go in with your Colette hyper and break that barrier again is still just as huge as 40% used to be. So I'm still a big fan of Colette in Heist, same with Crow, but we'll get to that later. It's mainly Heist or just Brawl Ball to be an anti-tank, but she's good where she's played, so I'll give her B tier. Then we have Belle, again, similar to B, just easy A tier, really good on a lot of different maps and on a lot of different modes. Belle is either A or B, sometimes S, but she just hovers around this territory depending on what else is meta. So yeah, A tier for Belle. Ashe, it's going to be our first S tier tank. He's just really good right now. And his other gadget, which was never meta, Rotten Banana, is now meta because everywhere you play Ashe, it's Brawl Ball, it's Gem Grab, it's Hot Zone. It's where there's a lot of action. And with Ashe, you always want Rage because you get damage and you get speed. That's what you want. And Rotten Banana would give you that. But in the old days, the issue is you would use Rotten Banana and then you'd have no way of living because you would die to a Rico or a Stu or something like that. But that's just really not the meta anymore. There's a lot more tanks, although it did kind of change recently and we'll get into that. But there is a lot of tanks and, just high HP brawlers. So you can use that Rotten Banana and there's no problem. Next up, we have Lola. Lola's going to be in our C tier. Just, similar to Colt, just doesn't do enough. Like, damage is good, yeah. And if you have good matchups, I mean, with any brawler, if you have good matchups, you can make it work. But she just doesn't do enough and the hyper sucks. Then we have Sam. Sam is, just worst, tier in the game. The fact that his hyper is so good, yet he is so bad is just insane to me, and Rafiki smells like reptile. Then we have Mandy. Mandy's gonna be in the A tier, similar to Piper, like different but similar. What's really good with Piper is against a lot of these other snipers or brawlers that you'll see on Knockout or Bounty specifically, is you hit one shot and then you curve them. So the main attack of Piper is broken. Whereas, yeah, the main attack of Mandy is good. You have all that range. But what's good about Mandy is the 5,000 damage super and then obviously the crazy hypercharge that she has. So they're just two like different style snipers. I personally prefer a brawler like Piper, whereas a lot of sniper mains prefer brawlers or prefer like the architect or archetype, of Mandy. So, it's just to each their own. Everyone's got different, flavors and what they like, but definitely an A tier brawler. Macy. Now, I personally like Macy, and this goes back to the start of the year. Me and Spen, we're going at it with, is Macy S tier? Is Macy, D tier? Now, Macy isn't that good right now, but I actually think she's a little bit underrated. I would like to put her at the bottom of B tier, but I'm going to be humble and say she is a C tier brawler for now. I would just stick to Brawl Ball if you're playing Macy. Hank, S tier. The fish is broken. Like, he just takes up too much space, does too much damage, and has too much shield. The super heals for too much, and the hypercharge is like it. I understand the hyper itself isn't that good, but the speed and all that helps. So S tier for Hank, no debate really. Larry, I honestly wanted to put Larry in the A tier. He's definitely going to be A tier with that hypercharge. Like, just let it be known when that hypercharge comes out, Larry's going from A tier to S tier. I think I said Larry's going to be, I don't know, whatever I said, Larry's going to be an S tier brawler with that hypercharge. Okay, like the only weakness to Larry is obviously Larry sucks on an open map and Larry can get ran down by an assassin, but can Larry really get run down by an assassin when there's, going to be two hypers on the ground? I don't think so. I really don't think so. So we'll see what happens. But I do think Larry's going to easily be an S tier brawler. maybe even S plus. Angelo's been up here forever. Just, you know, the best sniper in the game. S tier, can walk on water, does 4,000 damage if you hold down the whole shot. Can jump if you want to jump away. Can shoot through walls if you feel like shooting through walls. Super works perfectly for him. And the hypercharge also perfect. So S tier 100%. Then we have Barry. I think Barry's probably my favorite support brawler in the game. I don't know if it's the best, but it's definitely one of the best 3, maybe best 2, maybe even best 1. Easily S tier. He's only really not good if you're facing like Barley or... And honestly, Barry can win against Barley. Or like Crow. Crow destroys Barry. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. S tier for Barry. This is an easy one for sure. 3 more to go. We got Shade. Shade is also going to be in our S tier. One of the best hypers in the game. Every time you get a hyper, all the shots do 4,000 damage. So it's just like, you know, how do you stop that? The way to counter Shade, believe it or not, is to go Lu or Lumi, because Ice doesn't allow Shade to go through a wall. So that Lumi gadget or the Lu super completely counter Shade. Besides that, stuff like Doug and Jackie can counter Shade as well, but that hyper is going to do damage no matter what. So Shade is going to be S tier. You can basically play him anywhere besides Knockout as long as the map is good enough for him. But yeah, that hyper is it's just crazy. Then we have Meeple. Now you guys might think this is high for Meeple. You guys might think I'm factoring in the hypercharge, but I'm not. I actually think Meeple just randomly snuck up and became an S tier brawler, and let me explain why. That box creates so much space. There's really nothing in the game similar to that box gadget where you can just throw it far up ahead of you and you create space and area and just all that stuff, and just, I don't know. I'm a big fan of Meeple right now. The shot's very easy to hit. The gadget's broken. And I think when that hypercharge comes out, again, Meeple can be an S plus tier brawler. I'm really surprised I'm saying all of this. I don't normally play Meeple. I just see it. It's really easy to play. And I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be S plus tier. Then finally, for the end of the epic tier, we have Trunk. Trunk is going to be C tier. Trunk isn't horrible. Like, there are definitely ways to play Trunk. But if you have a bad matchup like a Crow or, you know, a Macy or a Stu, it's like you're finished. You can't even hit those brawlers. So the passive tank, I mean the tank trait is very good on Trunk. Like he definitely needed that, but not the greatest. And then Pearl, I don't think I talked about Pearl, but Pearl's just mid now. Pearl's just not good. Doesn't do enough damage, doesn't have enough range, you know. Like Pearl's okay. The health is there, the damage is there kind of, but it just doesn't excel in anything, and he kind of just seems like a target every time he's played. All right, now we have my personal favorite tier, which is Mythic. It's basically the tier that has all the cool brawlers and none of the ones that dash around like crazy or are extremely broken. They're just all cool and unique. Starting off with Mortis. Mortis is going to be in the B tier. The hyper is really good, but if you're countered, you know, you just lose the game. Like, how you beating a bull? I don't know. I'm not going to explain Mortis too much. You guys all know Mortis, B tier. Then we have Tara. Tara is going to be at the very top of the S tier. Just a very solid win condition. The super obviously can change the game. The hyper obviously is a better super. It can change the game. But what really makes Tara good is that in this day and age of Brawl Stars, it's very difficult to not feed. Like back in the day, you could just be like, oh, stay away, don't feed the hyper. But everything has so much HP, so many gadgets, so much, you know, damage that it's almost impossible to not let a hypercharge happen. So yeah, Tara is like the queen of gem grab and Brawl Ball, and it's going to stay that way for a really long time. Then we have Jean. You guys know how it is. Jean is really good in knockout, really good in bounty, really good in gem grab. Always been good there. Always is going to be good there. S tier, easy. Max kind of fell off as a support. Just doesn't do enough damage. And like, imagine having a Max as a support versus like a Barry as a support, you know? Like Barry's just a lot more to deal with. But I think Max can slowly make his way back up. Maybe Max can honestly be B tier instead of C. But for now, I have Max in the C tier. Mr. P, also C tier, fell off. The hypercharge is good. Nothing else about Mr. P is good. Because of this, you have to play Mr. P in game modes that take a long time. So like gem grab or bounty, those are probably the two where you want to play Mr. P the most. Sprout is C tier. He's lucky I'm not giving him the D tier treatment, but I mean, he's just good as a thrower on bounty and knockout. Specifically knockout, I mean, he definitely does have his moments, but I just don't personally really see any Sprouts unless it's like the best Sprout game or the best Sprout map ever. So then we have Byron. Byron's going to be B tier. Every brawler that starts with the letter B, you know, like Byron, Barley, you know, just, Bo, going to be B tier. That's just how I do it. But for real, Maybe Byron's going to move up with the hypercharge to the A tier. I've said this in my last video, but I don't know if he's going to get hypercharge with his heals as well. If he is, that's going to be really huge for him. But he's going to be B tier for me. He just doesn't do enough, and he's a little bit weak right now. S tier, Squeak. I'm sure a lot of you guys are honestly pretty surprised by this, but, you know, I haven't talked about some of these brawlers, but if you look at them at the top, like Charlie, Lumi, Jay, Gus, even Hank, Barry, Tara, Ash, like a lot of these brawlers, Squeak, I mean, sorry, not Squeak, we're talking about Squeak, Lou, Otis, Meeple, like Dog, a lot of these brawlers are really weak to Squeak. I feel like Squeak just counters a lot of the good brawlers right now, and so he just has to be S tier because his 2 good gadgets plus the ability to counter all the meta is just too much right now. Lou is the best anti-tank in the game in terms of like just a hard shutdown anti-tank. Every time you get that hyper, it's a guaranteed kill unless you just suck at the game. And yeah, he's like one of the kings of Hot Zone and Brawl Ball for sure. Next up, we have Ruffs in S tier. I'm sure this surprises a lot of you guys, but I think this is where I'm going to take the moment to actually talk about this, where I was trying to get at the entire video, is the meta has made a really big change. And Ruffs is kind of like the perfect example of that. Like, he only got a little bit of a speed buff to his attacks, to like the reload, not even the actual attack, but he was like C tier in the last meta, where brawlers just weren't doing enough damage, or, you know, he just didn't do enough. But now that you see a lot of control brawlers like Jae Young, Lumi, Charlie, Gus, Angelo, somewhat Tara, Meeple, Jean, Otis, Lou, Squeak, like this is more so a control meta than there probably has been the entire year. So with that buff that Ruffs got, plus the meta that we're in, I think Ruffs is genuinely an S tier brawler. I might be mistaken, and he might be an A tier, but it's S or A 100%, and I'm just going to give my boy the props and give him the S tier. Next up, we got Buzz. Buzz, you know, letter B, B tier. Y'all know how it is. Good in Brawl Ball, okay in Gem Grab. That's about it, but he's a cool brawler and unique, and I love him, so B tier. Then we got Fang. Fang is going to be in the C tier. I actually think he's okay right now. Like, not horrible. He's probably the best brawler that we have in the C tier right now. He's just, you know, in the bottom because why not? But he's just kind of one-dimensional, and he's only good because of that super, and sometimes that super doesn't work out, and then you're useless. So, yeah. Next up, Eve. Same thing. C tier. Just not enough damage. The hyper isn't good enough because so many of the good brawlers in the game right now have those pierce shots. Like, look at the S tier, 3 of the brawlers, Ollie, Lumi, and Jay, have no problem dealing with that Eve hyper because you just take one shot and you can take out every single pet. So, it's very matchup specific. You have to face single fire brawlers like Bonnie. But if you do, you know, Eve could be okay. Next up, we have Janet. Janet's just a really mid brawler right now. Janet's typically pretty mid. Decent hypercharge and good escape ability where you can, like, just fly away or jump away with the gadget. But besides that, I'm not a really big fan of Janet. You can play her probably just in Gem, and that's about it where I would play her. Otis is going to move up because of his buff and because of the meta that we're in. Really solid anti-tank and very good for like poking. He's not that type of anti-tank that's going to do 1,000 damage all at 1 second unless he's, well, I'm you know, 1,000 is in a big number. Like a crazy amount of damage all at once. He's just going to chip you down slowly, keep vision on you, not let you move up. But when he does have that hyper, he will destroy you. So kind of the best of both worlds. I'm a big fan of Otis right now. Buster, letter B, B tier. You guys already know. Then moving on to Gray. Gray's going to be S tier. Really good in Bounty, really good in Knockout, really good in Hot Zone when you connect the portal with the hyper portal. Really good in Gem as well. So Gray's just really well-rounded. I love Gray. Really cool. RT, he's going to be A tier. His gadget is one of the, I mean, not his gadget. His hyper is one of the best hypers in the game. Now, unfortunately, the rest of his kit just doesn't really keep up with the very high-end meta, but his hyper is so good that you just can't have him lower than A tier. Willow's a really weirdly good thrower. Like, if you're facing Willow versus Barley, Willow versus Larry, Willow versus Juju, like all those other throwers, they're going to tickle that Willow. Like, that Willow's doing nothing. But if Willow's the only thrower on the map and you're facing tanks, like those tanks are afraid of going near the Willow because Willow's just going to charge the super. And once Willow has super, as a tank, there's just nothing you can do to the Willow player because the Willow can dive and the Willow can just take you, make you run away, waste ammo, all that stuff. Like, Willow's a really good anti-tank right now. Doug's going to be C tier. He just gets countered too easily. He's pretty good though. Like, you can use him. He's just... if you're imagine facing a Crow or a Bee or a Colette, you know, just a Lou, any brawler that counters Doug, you're never going to win. So that's why I just have to have Doug in the C tier. Chuck, D tier, useless unless it's heist. Charlie, she's going to be our second S+ tier brawler that we're going to talk about. One of the best anti-tanks in the game, similarly to Tara, where the Tara pets are really good against single fire brawlers like a Jean or a Meeple. Charlie is the same way, where if you're facing a lane that's single fire, you just spam those pets and you're always going to win. But the Cocoon super is really good, and her shot is really strong. Like if a tank is running you down, you can spray those shots out so fast. So one of the best anti-tanks in an anti-tank meta, so it's going to be an easy S+ tier. Miko's going to be C tier, only really good in heist, but honestly, he's good in heist. I think he's better in heist than Chuck is, as crazy as that is to say, so that's why I have him higher in my rankings than Chuck. Melody is going to be in the B tier. Again, Melody's just not that great as an assassin. Like, she's a good assassin, but there are way better assassins, which is why I have her in the B tier. And she's okay on heist, but I think there are better brawlers now, which is what carried her in old rankings, so she's going to be B tier. Lily, S tier. Lily's just like the GOAT gem grab brawler. Probably the best brawler that we have in gem grab right now. Just so easy to take the gems with the hyper and the super, so anything lower than S would be painfully rude to the Lily, but you can also use Lily in like Brawl Ball or other modes where there are a lot of HP, a lot of tanks, and you can get your supers and hypers really easily. Next up, we have Clancy the Crab. Actually going to be A tier, which it's the first time that we have had Clancy this high in a while. But he received 2 different buffs, which are, what is it? His star power got a buff. You start with more tokens, and then it takes 14 shots. No, it takes, 14 shots instead of 17 shots, I think, to reach stage 3. Maybe it's 13 with the new star power buff. Maybe it's, I don't know exactly, but it's a lot easier to get to level 3. And once you're level 3, it's like having a level 4 surge the entire game, right? Like, it's just having like the best brawler on the map. So it's easy to level up, and I don't know, it's good now. Then we have Mo's going to be another A tier brawler. The hypercharge is really good. You guys saw Bilal. I hope most of you guys saw Bilal use it in the monthly final. It literally won them a set. It's one of the best brawlers for changing a game. But besides that, the super is pretty unstoppable. You just chip with your regular shot. The regular shot really isn't all that. But Mo doesn't have many like hard counters like throwers. You can kind of shoot around and get shots, or like spawnables. You can take them out pretty easily. So there's not too many hard counters to Mo, which is why I like Mo a lot. A tier for sure. Next up, Juju. Juju's going to be in our S tier. Probably our best or second best thrower. Like, I know Barry is a thrower, but I don't classify him as like a thrower. Like, he's not a thrower to punish a mid-range. He's a thrower as a healer to be annoying, right? But Juju, just really good. The gadget where you can go invisible, have a shield, or run fast if there's water is just way too strong to ignore. And once Juju gets that hypercharge, similarly to Larry, it's going to be trouble for a lot of brawlers. Then we have our third S+ tier brawler, and Ollie. We all saw that Ollie hyper. Ollie is on his way to being the best brawler in the game. He probably is going to be the best brawler in the game when that hyper comes out. And you can probably play Ollie anywhere when that hyper comes out. So just get ready for that. Lumi, again, S+. Crazy, just like Charlie as an anti-tank, but for a different reason. Like, Charlie has more range and is more spammy when it comes to like the spiders and how fast you can get her shot off. Whereas Lumi is a little bit spammy, but she's just such a high damage dealer if you are connecting all her shots. Hitting them twice forward, I think, is 2.8k or 3.2. I don't know exactly. And then getting them back is also just a ton of damage. Like, Lumi just does so much. She's incredibly good on heist, incredibly good on brawl ball, incredibly good on gem grab. Lumi's just amazing. Like, not to forget the gadget is also just nuts. Then we have Finks. Finks is S tier. I was thinking about putting Finks in my S+ tier, kind of like thinking ahead to when that hyper comes out, because that hyper does look broken. But I think it takes 4 total supers to get a hyper, which basically makes it impossible for you to get 2 hypers in a game of Finks. You're either going to get 0 or 1, and that might take away from the value of the Finks hyper. So as good as it looks, it's going to be difficult to get. So I'm going to keep Finks in the S tier, but really good as an anti-tank. The gadgets are both like absolutely broken. The super is broken, and he is maybe the best brawler in Hot Zone. We have 2 more mythics here. Our first one is going to be our 5th S+ tier brawler, and that's going to be Jae Young. Now, this is accounting a little bit for when the hyper comes in. The hyper looks broken. Like, the hyper seriously looks insanely broken. Just constant heals, constant speed, and that is a lot to deal with in Brawl Stars. Like, trust me, it doesn't look crazy, but it is going to be crazy. And he does a sneaky amount of damage with his gadget. His shots are easy to hit, which kind of like makes it okay that he doesn't do that much damage. And I just love him as a support. So he's easily going to be S+ for me. And then finally, we have Ali in the bottom of the B tier. A pretty good assassin, pretty difficult to deal with. But it seems like Ali can only get 1 kill at a time and then either has to leave or die. To be honest, I'm surprised there's not more legendaries in the game. There's only like, what, 9 or 10? Which I thought there'd be a lot more, like considering how many epics and mythics there are. But anyways, the legendaries, they're pretty cool. Starting off with Spike. Spike's going to be in the B tier. He has moved up a little bit. He's been pretty good as an anti-tank. He just sneakily moved up. He's good in this control meta. It suits him better. But I think the buffs of Juju and Larry are going to be very difficult for Spike to deal with. I can't lie. So bottom of the B tier for sure, but definitely B tier. Crow. Crow is going to be an S+ tier brawler. Crow's just annoying, man. Like, we're just at the point where Crow is so good. The damage, the poison. Like, I know he doesn't do high damage, but it's not super low. The fact that he also poisons is pretty crazy, so you can't heal. The slow and the shield are both really strong. The hyper is good in heist, but also just good to take out enemies. Like, wow. Crow is just so annoying, and he is the perfect brawler for this meta. S+ tier, 100%. Leon, I put in the C tier. I understand Leon's pretty good at like the mid-level part of the game, but he just doesn't really have a place in the high part of the game, so I'm just gonna have to leave him in the C tier. Maybe he can be B, but it's just his super that's good. Everything else is useless. Sandy. Now, Sandy's a weird one because literally nothing happened to Sandy. Like, no buff, no nerf, nothing. And Sandy went from S tier down to C tier, back up to S tier with literally nothing happening. That just shows you how important the meta surrounding the brawler is. Now, why is Sandy in the S tier now? Because a lot of the brawlers before, they had a lot of HP, a lot of heals, and it literally did not matter if Sandy got a super down, because you would waste your stun and, you would just use all of your utility, I'm going to call it, and nothing would happen. Whereas now, a lot of these, like, brawlers like Jae Young or Lumi or Charlie, they're brawlers where you can't die. You need to stay up. You need to farm your opponents. And that Sandy super is now so much more lethal because of the meta surrounding the Sandy. So Sandy's definitely a lot better right now. S tier for sure. Then we have Amber. I feel like Amber can easily be S tier, but I'm going to put Amber A tier for now. Just not amazing at too much, but the hypercharge is really good, and I'm personally a big fan of Amber in Hot Zone. I think it's a really good way to overwhelm the other team, is to have a brawler that's constantly in mid, plus Amber just constantly running down mid. So I'm gonna have Amber in the A tier, but there's just a lot of assassins that are really good into Amber, so that's why she's not too high. Meg, B tier. I mean, she's just an average brawler, average anti-tank, average range, pretty high damage, pretty good hyper, but just a lot of weaknesses. Like, her range isn't that great, and then throwers just destroy her, so she has to be in the B tier. Surge, C tier. I would really, really like a buff to Surge. I'm a big fan of Surge and playing Surge and just everything about Surge, and if Surge can't be good in this meta, there's probably very few opportunities for Surge to be good, so I really would like a Surge buff. Chester's like barely hanging on by a thread in the A tier, but it's literally only because the hyper is still a constant team wipe, basically. Like, you can't juke the hyper unless you just get lucky, and the hyper is pretty hard to miss unless you're Sans. Sans just can't seem to hit the hyper to save his life. But yeah, the hyper is amazing, and then that red candy from the gadget is also just one of the most broken things in the game. So Chester has a couple things that make him still a very dangerous brawler to face, but he's not that good besides those two things that I named. So bottom of the A tier for sure. Cord is probably the best, like, shutdown brawler in the game. So there are anti-tanks, and Cord is considered an anti-tank, but in my eyes, he's like a shutdown brawler. Like, if you're facing an Ollie or like a Draco, like, you put that Cord on that tank, that Cord does not leave that tank's sight, and he just supers them over and over and over and over, and that's like very difficult for a tank to deal with. So S+ tier for the Cord for sure. He also has that jump, which makes him usable against like Barleys or throwers and stuff like that. Then we got Kit, my personal favorite brawler right now. S+ tier. The hyper is just so good that you can't not have Kit in the S+ tier. Even though it got a nerf, the actual hyper itself stayed the same. So because of that, he's still going to be S+ tier. 2 more legendaries. We have Draco. Draco also had a crazy hyper, but just because of the meta, like Draco's still an amazing brawler, but half the brawlers at the top of the meta completely hard counter Draco. So most of the time, Draco's only going to find value when he uses his hyper, which is still good. But besides that, it's going to be very difficult for him. So S tier for me. And then finally, for a legendary, we have Kenji. S tier, one of the best assassins, if not the best assassin in the game. And then finally, our ultra legendary, which I still can't believe this is a rarity. We have Kaze up in the S+ tier. Just, you know I said Kenji could be the best assassin, but it's not. It's honestly Kit or Kaze. I guess I'm going to count Kit, but it's definitely Kaze. Like, Kaze's insane. The hyper ninja mode super is unreal. Just instant death for anyone that stands in the way. And it's so easy to get hypers with Kaze. The gadget is busted. The attack is busted. The hyper is busted. Everything is busted about Kaze. So that's going to be my tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you guys did, like, comment, and subscribe. These tier lists are a bunch of work. So I would appreciate if you guys could comment and leave a like. It helps my videos out a lot more than you guys can imagine. That's going to be it for me today. I'll catch you guys again later.